Hello, and welcome to another Challenger Approaching discussion. Today's topic, Smash Brothers DLC, Who Do You Want to See? I'm Wander, I'll be leading today's discussion. With me today, I have Ark.
Hey.
And Ryu.
That's me.
Alright, so the official Super Smash Brothers ballot closed last week, and we've been running our own poll as well. So today, we're going to take a look at our poll and look at the results and what that might mean for the future of Smash Brothers characters. So first off, I just want to say thank you to everyone who took our Challenger Approaching Smash survey. We got over 350 submissions and more than 200 characters were nominated. So thank you, everybody.
Yeah, well played.
Today, quick plan of how this is going to work. We're going to announce the winning characters a little bit later, but first, I want to talk about the poll itself and some of the interesting data found about you guys, the people who took it. Now, if you want to skip all of that, just like demographic data and stuff, and go right to what characters won, I'll put an annotation in the video that you can click on and it'll take you right there. So I'll see you in the future.
There it is. It's right up there in the corner. Click that thing.
In the world of tomorrow.
All right, so what is the average person who took the survey like? That's one of the things I was interested in making this. So let's take a look at that.
Well, they used Tumblr for starters.
Yes, and that's actually kind of be important later.
Yeah.
First off, the country where most people are from, not surprising, most people are North American, mostly United States. We got a few people from Europe and Latin America, like a lot of UK, some Spain, Scandinavia, a couple Australians, but mostly North American, and almost all of them were from countries where English is a commonly spoken language. Makes sense.
Yes.
However, nobody from Japan.
I mean, I'm not too terribly surprised, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, but I do think it's interesting because Japan's such a huge market for this game. I feel like if for this poll in particular, if we had like a more even spread of Americans, Europeans, and Japanese people, I feel like the results would have been very different.
Did you get to see who, like if someone was from Spain, did you get to see who they voted for?
Yeah, I didn't find that to make too much of a difference. The American and European markets are more similar than either of them are to Japan.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I remember reading people's reactions to Little Mac in Japan.
Yeah, they
And
were not pleased.
Well, and think about how, like, a lot of Americans' reactions to like Shulk.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, who is this?
Lucas
so...
is announced in Brawl, and all of America's just like, cool, thanks.
Yeah. Okay. Next bit, age. A lot of people late teens, early 20s. Few like younger teens and a couple people in their 30s, but mostly like a fairly young audience here. And I also asked people what video game platforms they owned, and this kind of went along with that. A lot of people had Wii's, Wii U, GameCube, more so than NES, Super Nintendo, or N64. Let's see. Next question was to people to rank themselves as being more hardcore or casual, mostly in the middle.
Really?
Kind of leaning more towards hardcore. Like if 1 was casual and 5 was hardcore, a lot of 3s and 4s.
I think that question really depends on how you qualify casual and hardcore.
Right. Like I'm hardcore at the heart, but not in the hands.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree with that. I think the fact that it was kind of in the middle, but kind of leaning more towards hardcore makes sense with our audience.
Yeah, that's fair.
Now, finally, the most surprising piece of data I got from this was favorite genre. Like an overwhelming majority of people said that one of their favorite genres was the RPG.
Yeah, it's becoming much more of a popular thing these days.
And I thought like 85% of people who took this quiz said that the RPG was one of their favorite genres. And I find that kind of surprising because RPGs, besides Pokemon, have always been kind of a niche genre, even among hardcore gamers. So it seems like people who were reaching out to and who took this poll are of a group of gamers that really enjoys RPGs, especially Japanese RPGs.
When the genre came out in America, I remember that Japan was kind of scared that it just wouldn't catch on. And I believe it took a very long time for Americans to be like, oh, hey, this is pretty cool. And then it became much more mainstream after that.
All right. Well, there was the Earthbound news recently, and then that Earthbound 0 was coming out to America, and then Lucas was putting Smash, and then Undertale just came out. So I think it's hitting a high point here right now.
Okay, that's fair. Let's see, other popular genres were like action, adventure, platformer, fighting, a lot of things that make sense for a Nintendo-focused audience.
Yeah.
But I think, especially once you look at the characters that people voted for, you can very much tell that these people love RPGs. Like, got votes for Tales and Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts, all sorts of even like obscure games like that. So I thought that was really interesting. Summary: the average person, American, maybe a little European, late teens, early 20s, and likes RPGs more than probably your average gamer. So with all that in mind, let's talk characters.
Alrighty.
I'm going to give you the top 5 most popular characters from this poll as voted by the audience. You guys out there.
Welcome to the future, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Hi, future people.
Annotation must look pretty good.
The top 5 in no particular order are King K. Rool.
No
Isaac,
surprise.
Isaac, Shantae, Shovel Knight, and Inkling. By the way, the art you guys are looking on screen right now is provided courtesy of the Smashified project. So shout outs to them for letting us use their art here. Of these, there's definitely a number 1 and a number 5. Who do you think was in 5th?
I think that Isaac or K. Rool was in 5th.
Shantae.
Okay, so Ark says Isaac or K. Rool, and Ryu says Shantae. It was Isaac.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah, throughout the whole week, Isaac was definitely in 5th, but still like a head above the other 200 so characters that were nominated. So I feel like that was pretty impressive. Now, who do you think was number 1?
I'm gonna go with Inkling.
Inkling.
You both say Inkling?
Definitely Inkling.
Pretty definitively?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the grand winner, as voted by you, the audience, is Inkling.
Well, because it's just such a cool idea. Everybody wants that.
Yeah, let's talk about this a little bit. So, first of all, what do you think of this?
About the Inkling making it into Smash?
Yeah.
Okay, I think that it's a great idea. I think that everybody wants it, and then Nintendo has heard it. I know that when we had our great Splatoon debate a while back, the big thing was when Splatoon came out, which was sort of on the cusp. Like, people are thinking that Nintendo had pretty much decided the whole roster by that point, which definitely worked against them a little bit. But now that now that a little bit of time has passed and we have this ballot coming in, I hope that Nintendo sees this as an opportunity to just bring in their newest, most popular IP.
Very popular, very recent. Yes. What are your thoughts?
For being a new IP, I mean, I thought Shulk was even kind of surprising when they put him in there, because his game, I guess Xeno has been around for a while, but Xenoblade specifically is pretty new. Splatoon would be even newer than that, even though the sales are ridiculous for that one.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it would help tie together the game series as Nintendo All-Stars if you're including this current generation as well.
That's a good point, like representing the current generation, like the big Wii U title. And another thing Inklings have going for them, it's huge in Japan. Like, Americans love it, Europeans love it, Japan loves this game. There's so much worldwide support, especially. It's not just like a certain group of people who like Splatoon and like the Inklings. It's like people all over the world. I think Nintendo's going to probably respond to that. So yeah, that's the Inklings' number 1 winner. Congratulations to them. Let's move on to another first-party Nintendo character, who I think is a personal favorite of both of you. That's King K. Rool.
Yep.
Oh, you got that right.
You were going to do that.
Yeah. I love that.
Ryu, let's start with you. What are your thoughts on K. Rool and his success here and his potential for Smash?
All right, well, I think it's long overdue. He could have been in a Melee, and no one would have batted an eye, because he is the classic Donkey Kong villain, and Donkey Kong is one of the biggest franchises of Nintendo history. I mean, Donkey Kong is the arcade game. Donkey Kong sells well in every game, but he's kind of a retired character, and it's really he's not very relevant anymore. Although that doesn't really apply to Smash. I think he'd be a good representation of the classic Donkey Kong Country days. I mean, he's such a big character. He's a huge character in Nintendo history. Like, if you're thinking Mario villains of the entire Mario universe, he's like number 2 under Bowser. Wouldn't you say?
I think that that's actually factually proven, that he's had the second most appearances after Bowser.
Yeah, that makes sense. Arik, what are your thoughts on K. Rool?
I agree pretty much wholeheartedly. Now, as Ryu did say, he could have made it in Melee and know it better than I. I can agree to that. I think time hasn't treated him well. In fact, it almost kind of feels as though Nintendo's kind of trying to be like, hey, you guys don't like this character. He's gone. Don't worry about him. I almost think maybe there's like some underlying reason behind that. Like, I know there was a whole lot of weirdness with Rare handling the IP for a little bit, and then they moved on to other things. People have been debating over the legal situations behind that for ages. Even I don't fully understand that. But I think I can definitely agree that K. Rool is probably the most necessary villain to add to the roster at this point.
Yeah, I know, like, I'm pretty sure Nintendo still owns the rights to that character. But I know Retro decided not to use K. Rool for the recent Donkey Kong games because they just wanted to do their own thing.
Is that
they
it?
Didn't want to, yeah, they wanted to try something new, but they didn't want to feel tied down by the past. Like,
well,
then why make a Donkey Kong game?
I don't know, but I feel like if K. Rool had appeared in either of Retro's Donkey Kong games, then it would feel like a shoo-in.
Yeah, fair enough.
Ark said that he's kind of a dying character, and he doesn't have that big of a following of modern Nintendo, but I think Smash was a way of reviving characters.
Yeah.
And I think that if he appeared in Smash, there would be so much hype about him that we would see him in the next Donkey Kong, and he would probably be in the Mario spin-offs more.
How do you feel about that, Duck Hunt Amiibo?
Okay, let's move on to the next two characters. Now, I found it really interesting that 2 characters in the top 5 were indies. So let's talk real quick about Shovel Knight first, though.
Okay.
What do you guys think?
I feel as though Nintendo hears... they definitely hear this one, as witnessed by the new Shovel Knight Amiibo. Thanks for that, Game Grumps. But I would welcome him. I feel like he would make a great addition to the roster, even though I haven't played his game yet. Planning on it.
Really? What are your view?
I think that if they're using this Smash Ballot, they want characters that are going to create a ton of hype, and I think Shovel Knight's someone who's going to create a ton of hype. If they put Shovel Knight in the game, him being an indie game, it would be big news, and it would be the kind of announcement that they would want to do. And maybe another character could get in on the side, but I really think that he's a super likely character out of this top pick, just because he would be so hype when he's done.
Really? Now, I'm actually going to have to disagree with you two of you.
Okay.
A little bit here. And this is part of the reason why I kind of wish I had more, that I had data from Japan. Because Shovel Knight has been getting a lot of good publicity in America and in Europe, but it's not really, like, it hasn't made nearly as big as an impression in Japan, as far as I can tell.
Fair enough.
And, like, Japan is, Nintendo's primary market. That's where they're from.
All right. Well, do they have a Shovel Knight amiibo in Japan?
I don't.
Yeah.
Well, they don't have it anywhere right now.
They will though. They will though.
I'm sure they will. But yeah, like one thing I noticed is that usually like American indie games aren't huge in Japan, and Japanese indie games, unless they have a big name behind them like Keiji Inafune, don't really make a big splash in America.
That's fair.
So that's why I feel like this is very much like a regionally requested character, as far as I can tell.
I feel that, but I also feel like America and Europe as a whole, like, it's a much larger audience than just Japan. I don't know. I feel as though if I were in Nintendo's viewpoint, I would want to go with the vast majority. And if the world wants Shovel Knight, then yeah, I would definitely put.
Yeah, the other thing with Shovel Knight, like I love the Shovel Knight game. One thing I'm just not sure about is, are we going to be talking about that game in 10 years? Is there going to be a Shovel Knight franchise? And I don't know about that.
If he gets put in Smash, I bet you there will be.
Well, it's kind of a chicken egg scenario.
Fair enough.
Like a lot of the gameplay in Shovel Knight is derived from other games, which I don't think there's a problem with that in itself. I just don't know if there's enough there to build a dozen other games off of.
Yeah,
there's one great game with some good-looking DLC, but I'm not sure if there's going to be still Shovel Knight games a decade from now.
I'm hearing what you're saying because it is just a now thing. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not that Shovel Knight can really be considered an all-star of gaming. And that's a term that I use a lot, just because I think that that's how you make the Smash roster. You use people who are iconic, the concept of gaming. And I think Shovel Knight is big for now, but I think that it's just now.
Yeah, and I understand Shovel Knight's popularity. It's a great game, but I think that's the reason why I'm hesitant to say Shovel Knight is super likely for Smash. He's very popular now, but I wouldn't call him an icon of gaming just yet. I think Ryu put it really well.
Fair enough.
Okay, now let's talk really quickly about the other indie character here, Shantae.
Well, I mean, as I say, I have played a handful of Shantae games. I played the original one on the Game Boy. I played, I can't even remember the name. I apologize, but I feel as though they have some really great concepts behind them, and the whole transformation sequences they're pretty neat. But I don't know. Something about the series is keeping me back from really enjoying it fully. And I feel as though, even though she's a more long-standing character, I don't really understand the hype behind her.
Okay. Ryu, what are your thoughts?
Hey, I'm not qualified to have thoughts. Really.
Okay.
I've never played any of her games. I don't even know what the gameplay looks like because I've never even watched a walkthrough or anything.
Okay.
I just know that she's a big name.
All right, I'm a big Shantae fan myself, and I feel like with Shantae, it's always been a pretty underground kind of obscure franchise for a while, and it's just in the past few years, it's been gaining a lot of steam. They just had the third game just came out a little while ago to pretty good success. The fourth game is coming soon. So I think her star's on the rise. I feel like Shovel Knight, I don't know if I'd call her an all-star gaming icon just yet, but she's definitely gaining steam. And I mean, I asked, will we be talking about Shovel Knight 10 years from now? Maybe, maybe not, but Shantae, it has been more than 10 years and we are talking about her now more than ever. So I don't know about this game, like Smash 4, but if Shantae continues to rise like this, maybe sometime in the future.
Okay.
I feel like for Smash DLC and the ballot in general, third-party characters and indie characters especially are going to have a much larger barrier to entry than a first-party character.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, one last thing I wanted to talk about Shantae was something really interesting I noticed. Between K. Rool, Shovel Knight, and Shantae, sort of the middle three of this top five, Shantae had the fewest overall votes. Had the fewest people. She was on the fewest people's lists. However, she had the most people put her as their number one pick. Mm-hmm. So it all kind of balanced out in the end. And the margins here aren't huge, so it's pretty even as is. But I thought it was interesting how fewer people seem to know her, but those who did seem to really like her. I feel like that kind of characterizes the Shantae series as a whole.
Okay.
All right, finally, the last one, who was definitely fifth place, sort of a little bit below the other four, but still ahead of everyone else, and that was Isaac from Golden Sun.
He certainly is a popular character.
Where the hell is he? Why wasn't he in Super Smash Bros. 4 already?
Eh?
He was an assist trophy that got removed, and now he doesn't even have a trophy, does he?
No, he doesn't.
So.
There is no Golden Sun references in any part of Smash 4.
Yeah.
So I thought he was already going to be playable, because I thought, well, that's the reason he hasn't been around.
It's because he's DLC.
It's been this long, and we haven't heard anything about him.
Yeah.
Another series that, unfortunately for me, because I like this series, but it didn't really make too much of a dent in this poll, there is no custom Robo references in Smash 4 either.
Nor any Advance Wars, I don't
There's
think.
the assist trophy. But
That's true. That's true. I did forget about that.
Yeah, and those are three franchises that are well liked depending on who you ask, but never been huge.
They all sort of feel like they go hand in hand, don't they?
Yeah, it's weird.
I think it's mainly because of the whole Game Boy Advance thing.
Yeah.
All three are going to be one playable character.
Yeah, I think the fact that Isaac got into the top five definitely speaks to how RPGs were the favored genre of this group.
Mm. I can understand
And
that.
I feel like if we had a different audience, then that number 5 character might have been somebody completely different.
Yeah, probably.
But I think Isaac has always been well-liked. Golden Sun has always been a well-liked series. So I'm not surprised to see Isaac place high in this.
Yeah. Well done, Isaac. Well done.
Let's kind of wrap up our thoughts on the top 5 here. Do you guys have personal favorites?
Of the 5.
Inkling.
Yeah, the Inkling.
Inkling? Okay. I was also going to ask what you think was the most likely, but I think that's going to be the same.
Yeah, probably.
Well, if you're looking at the people who would have taken this poll, who really like these games and are going to know all the little details, then you're going to get the list that we got. But if you were like going to ask people who just maybe buy the games for their grandkids or just pick up the game at the store because it looks colorful on the cover, then they might not know any of those characters except for the Inkling.
That's fair, yeah. Like Inkling is getting a lot of good press. It's very popular all over, so I definitely think they're the most likely character to become DLC.
Of the 5 there, absolutely. I don't even think...
Maybe out of anybody.
Yeah, well, yeah, they're definitely up there. One thing that I was sort of concerned with the Inkling and their ability to make it into Smash was, okay, so how do you think they would work? Do you think that they would probably squirt ink on the ground and then they would turn into squids and then they would go across the stage like that? Maybe go up walls or something?
I mean, I feel like the whole ground painting mechanic might not work for Smash because you'd be covering up the whole stage.
That's the situation I'm thinking about right now, is that
they auto fades away.
Well, maybe, perhaps.
So maybe it would just be like a projectile and they could just kind of squid whenever.
Yeah. I feel like they would be a challenging concept to fully realize, but I think that they could do it.
If anybody can make it work, I think it's the Smash team. They've done a good job already.
Definitely.
Make it work.
All right, if you think we have time, I'd like to run really quickly through the rest of the top 20 because there's some really interesting picks right in here.
I'm interested.
All right, so the first runner-ups, we have Banjo and Kazooie, Bayonetta, Daisy, and Wonder Red.
Wonder Red, no thank you. Everyone else, yes please.
Daisy?
Yeah.
I don't know what Daisy really had.
Fair enough.
Am I crazy?
No, that's fair. That's very fair. I think a lot of people are always going to ask for her until Nintendo eventually caves, but I'm not entirely sure exactly what she would be able to do.
Yeah, I feel like this is a very eclectic mix right here. All of them are characters expected to be top 20. I wasn't expecting top 10 for them, but okay. What our audience likes. I feel like with Daisy, make her playable in a Mario game before Smash.
Yeah.
Like, I'd like to see more of her in like the core Mario series.
They should revive the Mario Land series, but you play as Daisy.
Sarasa Land.
Why not?
Let's go back to Sarasa Land.
Yeah, why not? I like that place. Good music. Okay, the second group of runner-ups, we have Professor Layton, Crystal, Waddle Dee, Simon Belmont, and Chibi Robo.
Those are all pretty standard.
I think Chibi Robo might have been my number 1. It's kind of hard to remember. But
I think it was.
I feel like Chibi Robo needs to hit assist trophy status first.
Yeah, that might have been my one vote that put him on that list.
Fair enough.
Well, there were quite a few other people who had Chibi Robo on their list. Yeah, these are all characters that are fairly popular, but never at the top, I think. But still,
Chibi Robo's gonna have good things coming when that Whiplash zip line, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
I don't care.
That game looks like it's gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it looks fun. I know some people were kind of salty about how it seemed different than Chibi Robo, but
I'm one of those people.
I feel like anything to make the brand bigger, why not try different genres? I say no, try new things. Why not? Okay, so and our final third set of runner-ups, and this is going to like the bottom of our top 20. We have Impa, Dixie Kong, Rayman, Sora, Paper Mario, and Phoenix Wright.
Okay, I like that group. That's a good set of characters.
Okay.
People sure are still going on for Sora, huh?
Yeah, I feel like it's it speaks to how much these people love RPGs that Sora made top 20.
That's fine. They can want what they want.
And I've personally never played a Kingdom Hearts game.
Mhm.
I hear they're great, and I don't doubt that.
No, wait. Were there any Final Fantasy characters on this list?
Sora.
Not in the top 20.
Right, I was asking if Sora was the highest one of the... I mean, if you can count Kingdom Hearts as Final Fantasy.
It kind of is. I mean, there were a few other Final Fantasy characters, the biggest one being Black Mage.
And I would probably enjoy Black Mage.
Yeah, I think if they wanted to go for a classic Final Fantasy, or if they're going to do a Square Enix character, they would probably go for something old school like they did with Mega Man. In which case, I think Black Mage would be cool. But yeah, I guess Kingdom Hearts is really popular among our audience. So
what was the fighter game that Phoenix Wright was playable in?
That's
Marvel vs. Capcom.
Project X Zone.
No, I'm Marvel vs. Capcom.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah,
That's
he's also in Project Cross Zone.
That's
I don't even know what that is. But I watched gameplay of him in Marvel vs. Capcom, and he had really, really cool mechanics to him.
Yeah, he's a little wonky, but he's pretty fun.
So yeah, that's our top 20 right there. I think we're about done here.
All right.
So thanks to both of you for joining me here and talking about these. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, no problem. Wonder this was a good time.
Yeah. Now
Let's do it again sometime.
Yeah. Okay, before we go, I just want to give a quick shout out to the 4 different people who nominated the Reckless Wiimote Safety Warning Guy. You made my day. So, bravo to all of you for making me chuckle. I hope you enjoyed our little discussion here. Thank you so much again for voting, and congratulations, Inkling.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
See you next time. Bye-bye.